level of globalization. So up till now, what we have discussed, what is globalization, cased the case for the or the advantages of globalization, the drawbacks of globalization. Then we talk about, as a manager, if I would be working, should we go for this globalization? Should we address this globalization? Yes. Then we talked about what kind of company I would be working in so that I could make the decisions with respect to globalization. We talked about the MNC, multi-domestic company, global company, and transnational company. And then we talk about how company go global. And now, what are the challenges that managers will face when they are operating in this globalization? First of all, political and legal issue. So in US, because this book is US centric, so US political system is very smooth and very stable. So most of the managers, they don't care about stuff. They know that, okay, in this government is elected for 4 years. The 4 years, nothing going to happen. Their policies are same. But in other parts of the world, this is not like that. And you can see that all over the world, there are many protests, many things that are going to look at the case of Sri Lanka and right now, what's going on in Pakistan as well. And also in other countries where people are protesting against their presidents, they are not ready to even accept that for 4 years. So in that case, you need to see that how their legal and political system is changing. So your decision, you should be actively involved in the news and addressing those issues in your decision making. So managers also must inform about the specific laws of the country. Plus, some countries have risky political climate, like in Pakistan, like in Bangladesh, like in African countries, right? So if you are transferred to that company in which you need to make decisions, so be aware of legal and political system over there. You need to be not just read it, but just once and just you just say that, okay, I know everything, so I can do that. No, because over there the things are very dynamic, the political system is very dynamic, and sometimes it works as a democratic, sometimes it works against that, right? So the second one is economic environment, whether this is free economic environment, which means without the intervention of any government, which means everything is controlled by public sector. There is no influence or no interference by government. But in planned sector, everything is planned by the government. Asian perspective or communist perspective, right? Like Russia, like China, right? They are planned economy. Most of the stuffs are owned by the government, right? Now, similarly, we talked about in our last lecture the organization culture. Similarly, we have national culture as well. So what is the definition of culture that we discussed over there? The values and attitudes shared by employees, we call this organizational culture. The values and attitudes shared by individual or specific country, we call this national culture. All right, like in Gulf countries, in Muslim countries, we don't shake hands with the women. It considered over there is a taboo. But in America, you can easily shake hands, right? So this is called national culture. So you need to respect that. If you are moving into globalization and you are deciding some stuff, so you need to act regarding that, and you need to respect not only the legal system the political system, the economic environment, but also cultural environment as well, right? So here is a culture of the Americans. So I just want you to pause the video and read it. We are just going through from here to here. Hofstede, five dimensions of national culture. So number one is whether the country is having a continuum of individualistic versus collectivistic, which means their people are looking for themselves or looking at the family perspective. They would like to live in family oriented, society or individualistic society, like less interest in family, more you can say that regarding their selves, right? Like self development, self interest. It's like that individualistic country. So most of the Western countries, they are individualistic country. Collectivist countries like North American countries, right? Mexico, Thailand. So their national culture is more collectivist. And then the second dimension is high power distance versus low power distance. So high power distance, like in Eastern countries, so there is a bossy attitude. You cannot just go into the boss room. You need to first knock it down. You need to give respect to your boss. It's like that. With low power distance, like United States and Sweden, you just open the door and you go there and you can talk to your high level management face to face. But in high power countries, low level employee cannot go to the top level management all of a sudden. You need to follow some steps. We call this high power differences versus low power differences. And then risk avoidance, so or uncertainty avoidance here. High uncertainty avoidance versus low uncertainty avoidance, in which people are less risky. They are France, Italy, and Mexico. They don't like to take risks. We call this high uncertainty avoidance. If you make risky decisions, they cannot do that. If you give them work and you give them, okay, there is high uncertainty, they won't do that. But if same word you give to the US people, Canadian people, Singaporean people, they would love to do that. So you will see that heavy investment in stock market would be from Singapore, Canada, United States, just like that. Because over there, their risk tolerance is very risk avoidance is low risk avoidance, low uncertainty avoidance, and United Kingdoms are in the middle. The fourth one is achievement versus nurturing. Achievement values such as assertiveness, acquiring money, money and goods, and competition prevails, which means you feel proud to have your own house, proud to have your cars, proud to have your, especially custom made stuff, right? Nurturing, which means values such as relationships and concern for others prevail, in which you see your family and society as a whole. Okay, if I have the Mercedes and my neighbors don't have it, so it's a, you feel societal obligations to help your neighbors to achieve that goal. If I want to buy Mercedes Benz and they don't have it, so I will not buy it unless my neighbors also buy that. So we don't like to the this nurturing countries, they don't like to show off their wealth to the others. It is considered that they are just bragging and something. But here, if you show them, it is considered as their achievement. Look at that, he owned a gold something, gold rim or gold or platinum type of like car or something. It's a unique car. It's a exclusively custom made car. So they just brag it. and people consider them as achievements. But here, they don't do that. And the last cultural differences is long-term orientation versus short-term. So in which the individuals, they look to the future and value thrift and persistence, in which their goal is not just short-term, their goal is for longer term. Anything they want to do, their perspective is long run. Okay, if I want to buy this house for 30 years, for 20 years, not for 1 month or 2 months or 2 years or 3 years. But here, people values tradition and the past. Short-term oriented. Okay, I want to live here. We'll follow the tradition and that's it. And then I'll move on. What is that? What is the tradition? People come in Shanghai, work here. They need to get the Hongkou. If not, then they move on to some other cities. Not like that. If one person is coming to Shanghai, he will stick to the Shanghai for rest of his life. So the tradition is like that. People come to Shanghai, work, and go. So these people are China, Taiwan, and Japan. All right. Okay. So another, or you can say that the extension of this Hofstede model, which have a 5 dimension. So the globe, which is global leadership